Okay, we're gonna do another lab created, factory created gemstone versus natural gemstone video. Anytime I have a, probably a good selection, some good comparison stones, then I want to take a chance to do that. And so you'll find many of these types of videos, same information, but I just try to make as many as possible, showing as many different stones and examples as possible so that you'll hopefully be able to, start to pick up what I'm putting down. So these are 2 strands of labradorite. Well, technically 3, but this strand of labradorite is made in a factory. It's lab created. This strand of labradorite was made by Mother Nature. And then someone mined her, and then she went to a factory to be cut, drilled, strung into beads. Now, to be fair, there is some labradorite in this strand, so some of it did come from Mother Nature. But then it went to a factory and was broken down into powder so that it could then be mixed with other stabilizers and chemicals, dyes, treatments to become a beautiful, perfect strand of labradorite. And the easiest way to tell is to look at the beads. If they are all exactly the same, right? Exactly the same size, shape, cut, facet, everything. There's no way that hands by hand did that. That's made in a mold, the same way glass beads are made. This strand of rondelles are each cut by hand. No 2 beads are the same shape. They all are pretty close in size in 9mm, but you can tell by looking at them, each one is cut by hand. They're all wonky and organic, and so while this may be a bad quality if we were looking at pearls, for gemstones, it will tell you that these are 100% natural, made, again, cut by hand, and then faceted by hand, drilled by hand, strung by hand. That's also another way to tell. A factory or lab-created stone will have a very large hole. I mean, look at the size of that thread. That's like a size 8 silk. And that's because it's made the way glass beads are made, in a mold with a rod down the middle for the hole. Natural gemstones are drilled by hand afterwards, and they're drilled with teeny, teeny holes. No matter how big the stone is, they drill the hole so small because they don't want to break the stone. So the best way to do that is to make the smallest hole possible so that we don't risk fracturing the gemstone. So your natural gemstones, no matter how large, will have a very small hole for the most part. So even though these are faceted and look kind of more rough cut, they were still made in a mold, I promise you. Now, does that mean they're not real? No, that doesn't mean that. Are they 100% natural? Also, no. Again, there's labradorite in this. I can tell from the colors and the weight and everything. But there are also other chemicals with it. Other stabilizers and colors and treatments. This strand is 100% natural. And weight is it, so there's the right consistency of the size, shape, bead to bead. There's the whole size. There's the weight. Labradorite's not a very heavy stone. This strand is technically about 1 millimeter or so larger. I would say these are like 9mm. These are closer to 7. Yet both these strands weigh 48 grams. How is that possible? If they're both the same length, they're both 16 inches, I promise. I made them, or I got them next to each other. They're both 16 inches, yet these beads are larger and they weigh the same. It's because the factory-made gemstone is mixed with other chemicals and stabilizers. It's not 100% the gemstone. The gemstone itself is very light, this particular one, the labradorite. So I have a couple other things I wanted to show here. So, right, here's another strand of rondelles. This is moonstone, kind of labradorite's cousin. And I'll make like shorter videos just showing things quickly, but this one I have quite a few examples here, right? So these are not faceted, but they are 100% natural moonstone rondelles. Again, all about an 8mm, 9mm, but every single one is different, right? And not faceted, but they're definitely still cut and then polished, smooth, drilled, and strung, right? If they were lab created, they'd all be the same size and thickness and everything, but they are not. That's 100% natural moonstone. She's beautiful. Here is some pre-night. And they're not exactly the same, but this is lab created pre-night. These little nuggets, technically you could say, well, that one's a little smaller and bigger, right? It looks to me like they've alternated, like they have a mold that makes a larger one, smaller, larger, smaller, larger. See, and they alternated it. But look at the facets. That's a machine-made facet. There's no hand that made that cut and then made the exact same cut on the next bead perfectly and the next one perfectly. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're gonna look at. This is machine-made. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean don't buy it. It just means to know what you're buying. You shouldn't be paying a lot for these Chinese factory-created gemstones. This is a natural strand of tumbled pre-night. So again, it's not faceted, but she's cut into whatever kind of rough shape and then polished and then drilled and strung, right? So that's why they're all a little different. There's no mold that made these. Look at that drill on that one's wonky. So the more kind of organic it is, the better the sign, right, for it. Here's some, again, lab created or factory created labradorite, right? Look at how black this is. So obviously, now just because it's round, it does mean it was made in a mold, but they do also make plenty of natural gemstones that they press into a mold. Some are pliable and soft enough and they can heat treat them. A lot of those beautiful pure ones come out of Hong Kong. Carnelian, onyx, jasper, a lot of the like less trim, the gemstones that don't have much clarity. Anyway, but this is not. This is a Chinese-made lapstone. A good way to always tell is they almost always use this plastic, cheap, thin plastic thread that's tied at the ends. This is a strand of black rutile, all the same shapes that, you know, shape, size, made in the factory, plastic string tied at the end. This is not, you can see a little bit of the labradorite, so there's definitely some in there, but it's not a very good high amount or high quality. There's a lot of black and stuff in there. So it would just be a less expensive strand. Never saying don't buy something, just know what you're buying and you shouldn't be paying a lot for it. So again, the whole size lab created stones will have a larger hole. Another thing is to look at the string, right? I just showed the plastic string. Natural gemstones that come out of India. And yes, that's about the only place where they still cut and drill and string natural gemstones, because the factories in India have been there for a very long time and sort of set up. So here's natural green garnet, fluorite, but always strung on cotton cord that matches the gemstone. They just always have done that. It's cheap, cheap cotton cord. Here's some amethyst, right? These are all slightly different, but she's strung on purple cotton cord. Iolite, all these kind of wonky ovals, all different, you know, sizes more or less, strung on dark blue thread. Here's some rounds. Look at those wonky rounds, right? There's no mold that made those. Right, so that is the beauty of a natural stone bead. So look at the thread, colored cotton thread, thin thread though, because the whole size is really tiny and small. Look at the whole size. Look how consistent the beads are to each other. This labradorite we started looking at, the other ones, This is on a cotton cord, but it's on a white cotton cord. So sometimes they use thread like this, but they'll do white or black. And again, it's so thick. It's because the hole's so large. If this was from India, it would be on a natural, it would be on a blue. Normally they put labradorite on blue. So it just means it's not 100% natural. It should not be a very expensive gemstone. So there's our 10-minute lesson for today. I'm gonna make these videos over and over again, just so you know what you're buying, so you know what you also have in your own collections. I'm just trying to help people to stash and know the value. If your gemstone collection has a lot of strands that are lab-created Chinese stones, they don't have good value. They have not increased in value. They're more than you paid for it. They just haven't. However, your natural gemstones, anything purchased at my shop, or purchased a long time ago, most gem shows in the 90s, lab-created gemstones only came around like the mid, or like beginning of the 2000s. So 90s, 80s, anything like that should be a lot of natural gemstones. Definitely increased in value. So I'm just here to help you decipher all that. I'm happy to look at your collection as well. And that way, if you are just stashing or paring down and moving things on, you know what you have, and it can be passed on to someone to love and enjoy as well. Okay. Until the next time, peace.